The bustling streets of the world's major cities had never seen anything like it before. Massive, sleek spaceships hovered silently above the metropolises, their alien designs captivating the awestruck crowds below. This was the moment humanity had both dreaded and anticipated: the arrival of an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, the Imperium, on planet Earth. For decades, the nations of the world had debated the possibility of first contact, weighing the potential benefits and risks. Some held on to the hopeful vision of joining a galactic community, while others feared the loss of autonomy and the disruption of the established order. Yet nothing could have prepared them for the ultimatum that now lay before them. The Imperium's emissaries, clad in their imposing armor and flanked by towering robotic sentinels, descended upon the governments of Earth, demanding an audience. Their message was clear and uncompromising. Humanity's technological and societal development had reached a point where integration into the Imperium was necessary for the greater good of the galaxy. Your people have shown great potential, but you have yet to fully harness the resources and capabilities that will allow you to take your rightful place among the stars. The lead emissary, a figure known only as Executor Zoran, declared with an unwavering gaze, "The Imperium offers you a choice. Voluntarily join us and reap the rewards of civilization, or face the consequences of your refusal." The leaders of Earth's nations were stunned, their carefully crafted diplomatic strategies now rendered meaningless in the face of this alien ultimatum. They had spent years carefully navigating the delicate balance of global politics, but now they were confronted with a decision that would shape the fate of their entire species. Some saw the Imperium's offer as an unparalleled opportunity for progress, a chance to leapfrog humanity's technological and social development. They argued that integration would bring access to advanced knowledge, resources, and the stability of the Imperium's vast interstellar empire. "We cannot afford to let our pride and fear of the unknown hold us back," pleaded the President of the United States. "This is a chance to usher in a new era of prosperity and cooperation." However, others vehemently opposed the idea of surrendering their nation's sovereignty and autonomy. "We have fought long and hard to forge our own path as a species," the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom retorted. "Why should we abandon our hard-earned freedoms and submit to the rule of an alien civilization, no matter how advanced they may be?" The debate raged on, with each side passionately defending their position. The Imperium's emissaries remained steadfast, making it clear that they would not accept anything less than full integration. They warned that any refusal would be met with the full might of the Imperium, leaving the leaders of Earth with a stark choice: submission or confrontation. As the discussions continued, the world watched with bated breath, their lives forever changed by the arrival of these alien visitors. The fate of humanity now hung in the balance, with the decision of a few individuals poised to determine the course of the entire species. Would Earth choose to join the Imperium, or would it stand firm in its resolve to forge its own destiny, risking the consequences of defiance? The arrival of the Imperium's emissaries had plunged the nations of Earth into a frenzy of debate and uncertainty. The ultimatum they had presented, voluntary integration or face the consequences of refusal, had shaken the very foundations of global politics. In the halls of power, leaders from around the world convened emergency meetings, weighing the implications of this momentous decision. The stakes could not be higher, as the future of humanity itself hung in the balance. Some governments, captivated by the prospect of advanced technology and the stability promised by the Imperium, were eager to embrace the opportunity. "This is a chance to catapult our civilization into a new era of progress," argued the President of China. "We cannot afford to let our pride and fear of the unknown hold us back." However, a growing number of nations were fiercely opposed to the idea of surrendering their hard-won sovereignty and autonomy. "We have fought long and hard to forge our own path as a species," the Prime Minister of India declared passionately. "Why should we abandon our freedoms and submit to the rule of an alien empire?" The Imperium's emissaries remained steadfast, making it clear that they would not accept anything less than full integration. They warned that any refusal would be met with the full might of the Imperium, leaving the leaders of Earth with a stark choice: submission or confrontation. As the debates raged on, the world watched with bated breath, anxious about the implications of this momentous decision. Protests erupted in the streets, with citizens from all walks of life voicing their fears and concerns. Some saw the Imperium's offer as a chance for a brighter future, while others vehemently opposed the idea of losing their national identities and cultural heritage. The leaders of the European Union found themselves torn, with member states deeply divided on the issue. Some saw the Imperium's integration as a way to strengthen their collective bargaining power and access advanced technologies, while others feared the loss of their individual national sovereignty. In the United States, the political landscape was equally tumultuous. The president, who had initially expressed cautious optimism about the Imperium's offer, found himself under increasing pressure from both supporters and detractors. The debate quickly became a focal point for the nation's deep political divisions, with partisan lines blurring as the future of the country hung in the balance. As the discussions dragged on, the Imperium's emissaries began to exert economic and political pressure on the nations of Earth. They threatened to withhold vital resources and technology, causing global instability and unrest. Economies teetered on the brink of collapse, further complicating the already precarious situation. The leaders of Earth found themselves in an impossible position, forced to make a decision that would shape the destiny of their entire species. They knew that their choice would have far-reaching consequences, not only for their own nations, but for the entire human race. With the weight of the world upon their shoulders, the leaders of Earth braced themselves for the final showdown, knowing that the future of humanity now hung in the balance. The skies above Earth were alight with the fury of battle, as the Imperium committed its most powerful forces in a desperate attempt to subjugate the stubborn human defenders. Vast fleets of sleek, advanced warships engaged in a colossal clash with the hastily assembled but determined military might of the nations of Earth. On the ground, legions of the Imperium's robotic sentinels and heavily armored infantry clashed with the human forces, their weapons and tactics honed by the hard-fought battles that had come before. The air was filled with the deafening roar of exploding ordnance and the crackling of energy-based weaponry, as the two sides engaged in a brutal, no-holds-barred struggle for the fate of the planet. At the center of the maelstrom were the seasoned military commanders, leading their troops with a combination of skill, strategy, and unwavering courage. They had witnessed the Imperium's initial onslaught and the gradual turning of the tide, and now they were poised to deliver the decisive blow that could secure victory for humanity. "This is our moment," General Nikolai Petrov, the commander of the International Joint Forces, declared to his assembled officers. "We have fought long and hard to defend our home, and now we stand at the precipice of triumph. Let us show the Imperium the true might of the human spirit." Inspired by his words, the human forces launched a coordinated, multi-pronged assault, targeting the Imperium's command and control centers, supply lines, and key strategic positions. They utilized every advantage they had painstakingly gained: advanced weapons, superior tactics, and the unshakable determination of their soldiers to overwhelm and disrupt the invaders' operations. The Imperium's forces, once so confident in their superiority, now found themselves on the defensive, struggling to adapt to the human onslaught. Their commanders barked orders, desperately attempting to regroup and counter the relentless attacks, but the human defenders refused to be daunted. As the battle raged on, the very foundations of the planet seemed to tremble under the weight of the conflict. Buildings crumbled, cities burned, and the ground shook with the impact of the titanic clash between the two civilizations. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, with both sides pushing the limits of their capabilities in a desperate bid for victory. In the midst of the chaos, a lone figure emerged, a beacon of hope and inspiration for the human defenders. General Petrov, his uniform singed and his face etched with the strain of battle, led his troops with a steadfast determination, rallying them to press the attack with renewed vigor. "We will not be broken," he roared, his voice carrying across the battlefield. "This is our home, and we will fight to the last breath to defend it. The human forces, fueled by the general's words and the memory of all they had lost, surged forward with a renewed ferocity. They overwhelmed the Imperium's defenses, breaching their strongholds and delivering devastating blows that shook the very foundations of the alien empire's presence on Earth. As the sun began to set on the battlefield, the Imperium's forces found themselves in disarray, their once formidable might crumbling in the face of the human onslaught. The leaders of the alien empire, realizing the true extent of their underestimation of humanity's resilience and ingenuity, knew that the time had come to reevaluate their strategy. The outcome of the final confrontation hung in the balance, with both sides giving everything they had in a desperate bid for victory. The future of the planet, and the fate of humanity itself, now lay in the hands of the determined defenders, who refused to surrender their home without a fight. As the brutal battles between the Imperium's forces and the defenders of Earth raged on, a remarkable transformation began to take place. What had once seemed like an overwhelming and insurmountable challenge for humanity slowly started to shift in their favor. The breakthroughs achieved by the scientists and engineers, who had been working tirelessly to uncover the secrets of the Imperium's technology, proved to be a game-changer. Their innovative weapons and defense systems began to even the playing field, allowing the human forces to strike back with newfound effectiveness. Plasma cannons that had once sliced through Earth's conventional weaponry were now met with electromagnetic shields that could deflect their devastating blows. Advanced fighter jets, equipped with cutting-edge targeting systems and powerful energy-based armaments, engaged the Imperium's warships in fierce aerial battles, sending many of them crashing down to the ground. "We're not just holding our own anymore. We're pushing back," exclaimed the commander of the Joint International Military Forces, a sense of triumph and disbelief evident in his voice. The Imperium's technological superiority is no longer the insurmountable obstacle it once seemed. As the tide of the war began to turn, the Imperium found itself struggling to maintain its grip on the planet. Their forces, previously confident in their ability to subdue the human defenders, were now being forced to adapt and react to the ingenious tactics and advanced capabilities of their adversaries. The human spirit, fueled by a fierce determination to protect their home, proved to be a formidable force that the Imperium had not anticipated. Soldiers and pilots, once demoralized by the overwhelming power of the invaders, now fought with a renewed vigor, their skills honed by the crucible of battle. "We're not just fighting for our own survival anymore," said a young lieutenant, her eyes burning with resolve. "We're fighting for the future of our entire species. The Imperium may have the might, but we have the will, and that will be our greatest weapon." Across the globe, the human forces began to coordinate their efforts more effectively, sharing intelligence, resources, and tactics to maximize their impact. They targeted the Imperium's supply lines, logistics, and command centers, slowly chipping away at the invaders' ability to maintain their presence on Earth. As the Imperium struggled to adapt to the rapidly changing battlefield, its leaders grew increasingly frustrated and concerned. They had underestimated the resilience and ingenuity of the human defenders, and now they found themselves in a position where victory was no longer a foregone conclusion. "How is this possible?" Executor Zoran, the Imperium's emissary, demanded angrily. "Your primitive technology should not be able to withstand the might of the Imperium. What sorcery have you unleashed upon us?" The human commanders, their faces etched with a grim determination, simply replied, "This is not sorcery, Executor. This is the power of humanity, united in our resolve to defend our home." The stage was now set for a decisive showdown, as the Imperium committed its most powerful forces in a desperate attempt to subjugate Earth. The fate of the planet hung in the balance, with both sides pushing the limits of their capabilities in a bid for victory. The moment of reckoning had arrived. The Imperium, true to its word, launched its long-anticipated invasion of Earth, deploying vast fleets of advanced warships and ground forces across the globe. The skies above the planet's major cities were filled with the thunderous roar of alien engines as the Imperium's military might descended upon the human defenders. The initial battles were a stark wake-up call for humanity as the sheer power and technological superiority of the Imperium overwhelmed their defenses. Plasma cannons and energy shields, technologies that were previously the stuff of science fiction, carved through Earth's conventional weaponry with ease. Soldiers and pilots found themselves outmatched and outgunned, their training and tactics proving ineffective against the alien onslaught. "We're being pushed back on all fronts," the general of the United States military reported, his face etched with a mixture of fear and determination. "Their firepower and maneuverability are unlike anything we've ever faced. If we don't find a way to counter them soon, we won't stand a chance." Across the world, the defenders of Earth fought with a ferocity born of desperation, unwilling to surrender their home without a fight. They utilized every resource at their disposal, from advanced fighter jets to missile batteries, in a desperate attempt to slow the Imperium's advance. But for every enemy craft they managed to destroy, it seemed that the Imperium could simply replace them with overwhelming numbers. The civilian population, though shaken by the sudden invasion, rallied behind their military forces, offering support and supplies. Factories increased production, while citizens volunteered their services in the ever-growing war effort. The resilience and resolve of the human spirit were on full display, as the people of Earth refused to be cowed by the might of the Imperium. As the battles raged on, with the Imperium's forces steadily pushing deeper into human-held territory, a glimmer of hope emerged. The scientists and engineers, who had been working tirelessly to uncover the secrets of the Imperium's technology, began to make breakthroughs. They discovered vulnerabilities in the alien ship's defensive systems and developed new weapons and tactics that could level the playing field. "We can't win this war with brute force alone," the lead scientist explained, her eyes shining with a newfound determination. "But if we can harness our ingenuity and adaptability, we might just have a chance." Inspired by these developments, the human forces began to adapt and evolve their own strategies, finding innovative ways to counter the Imperium's technological superiority. They employed guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run maneuvers, and even managed to capture and reverse-engineer some of the Imperium's own technology. The tide of the war began to turn, as the Imperium's forces found themselves increasingly challenged and outmaneuvered by their human adversaries. The once unassailable invaders suddenly found themselves struggling to maintain their grip on the planet, their initial confidence slowly giving way to a growing sense of unease. The fight for Earth had only just begun, but the human defenders had proven that they were not going to go down without a hard-won battle. The Imperium, it seemed, had underestimated the ingenuity and resilience of humanity, and that oversight might just be their undoing. Defaced with the Imperium's unyielding stance, the nations of Earth reluctantly united, determined to defend their home planet. As the debates and discussions reached a fevered pitch, a realization dawned upon the leaders. They could no longer afford to be divided if they wished to stand a chance against the might of the alien empire. Across the globe, governments set aside their differences and began a massive industrial and military mobilization, pooling their resources and expertise in a desperate race to develop technologies that could counter the Imperium's superior capabilities. "We have no choice but to fight," declared the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, his voice resolute in the face of the impending crisis. "The Imperium may have the advantage of advanced technology, but we have something they can never replicate: the unwavering spirit of humanity." In laboratories and research facilities, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of human innovation. They sought to uncover the secrets of the Imperium's technology, determined to find ways to neutralize the invaders' strengths and turn their own weapons against them. Meanwhile, on the military front, the nations of Earth coordinated their forces, establishing a unified command structure and developing new strategies to defend their home planet. Seasoned commanders, veterans of past conflicts, put their skills to the test, training their troops to meet the formidable challenge that lay ahead. The people of Earth, once divided by their differences, now stood united in their determination to protect their way of life. Across cities and towns, citizens volunteered their time and skills, contributing to the war effort in whatever way they could. Factories churned out weapons and equipment, while civilians organized supply chains and logistics to support the growing military presence. As the Imperium's emissaries continued to exert economic and political pressure, the nations of Earth only grew more resolute in their stance. They refused to back down, even as the Imperium's demands escalated and the threat of invasion loomed ever closer. "We will not surrender our freedom, our identity, or our right to determine our own future," declared the President of the United States, his words echoing the sentiments of leaders around the world. "If the Imperium wishes to conquer us, they will have to do so through the might of our own hands and the unwavering spirit of our people." The stage was set for a clash between the technological superiority of the Imperium and the determination of humanity. Both sides knew that the outcome of this confrontation would shape the course of history, with the fate of the entire human race hanging in the balance. As the world braced itself for the impending battle, a sense of unity and purpose had taken hold. The people of Earth, once divided, now stood as one, ready to defend their home and their future, no matter the cost. In a dramatic and hard-won conclusion, the human forces emerged victorious, dealing a decisive blow to the Imperium's invasion force. The skies above Earth were filled with the cheers and celebrations of the people as the realization of their triumph sank in. The battle had been a brutal and costly one, with cities left in ruins and countless lives lost. But in the end, the indomitable spirit and unwavering determination of humanity had prevailed against the overwhelming might of the Imperium. General Nikolai Petrov, his face etched with a mixture of pride and sorrow, stood at the forefront of the victorious troops. "This is a victory for all of humanity," he declared, his voice solemn yet resolute. "We have proven that we will not be cowed, that we will not surrender our freedom and autonomy to any alien power, no matter how advanced they may be." The Imperium's emissaries, once so confident and unyielding, now found themselves in a position of weakness. Executor Zuran, his demeanor visibly shaken, addressed the leaders of Earth's nations with a newfound humility. "Your species has shown us a strength and resilience that we had not anticipated," he admitted, his words laced with a hint of respect. "The Imperium underestimated the ingenuity and the will of the human people. We can no longer ignore the potential you possess, nor can we continue to demand your submission." With this acknowledgement, the Imperium was forced to reconsider its approach. It was clear that the conquest of Earth was no longer a viable option, and that the human defenders had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with. The nations of Earth, united in their triumph, now faced the challenges of rebuilding and establishing a new role for themselves in the greater galactic community. They knew that their victory had not only secured their own future, but had also sent a powerful message to the Imperium and the rest of the cosmos. "We are no longer content to be mere spectators in the affairs of the galaxy," the President of the United States declared. "Our journey has only just begun, and we will forge our own path, forging alliances and partnerships that will ensure our rightful place among the stars." As the cleanup and reconstruction efforts began, the people of Earth found themselves grappling with the monumental changes that had been wrought. The integration of advanced Imperium technology into their societies, the sharing of scientific and cultural knowledge, and the opening of diplomatic channels with the alien civilization all presented both challenges and opportunities. Yet, through it all, a renewed sense of unity and purpose pervaded the global community. The once divided nations had come together in the face of adversity, and this shared experience had forged an unbreakable bond between them. They were now determined to build a future that would not only secure their own prosperity, but also serve as an inspiration to other civilizations in the vast expanse of the galaxy. The Imperium, for its part, had been forced to reevaluate its stance towards Earth and humanity. The sheer tenacity and resourcefulness of the human defenders had left a lasting impression, and the Imperium's leaders knew that they could no longer afford to underestimate the potential of this emerging civilization. As the dust settled and the wounds of war began to heal, a new era dawned for the people of Earth. They had weathered the storm, emerged victorious, and now stood poised to take their rightful place among the stars, their sights set on a future filled with endless possibilities.